Hi there! In a world where nothing is certain, that means anything is possible, right? If you want to fulfill your dreams and desires, you are in the right place. You absolutely can have a life of happiness. Everyone deserves an abundance of love, laughter, success, health and wealth. I'm Tara Chadzakis and you're listening to the Happy, Inspired, Motivated podcast. The show that brings you meditation, mindset and motivation. So start by giving yourself permission to be awesome. Sit back, relax and enjoy the show. Hi there and welcome to this episode of Happy, Inspired, Motivated. Now today I have a very special guest with me today. His name is Chris Brown. Chris is an empowering speaker and a transformational life coach. At the age of 29, Chris was obese and he was well over 430 pounds. This caused him to have sleep apnea, anxiety and depression. He worked his way through losing the weight through his own techniques and he lost well over 200 pounds. And now Chris helps people do the same thing and he helps them lose weight, feel better about themselves, turn their lives around, because obviously that's one great advantage of being motivated and changing your lifestyle. And he also has been working with people to help them overeating, especially during this time when we've been working from home. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Chris. You can meet him for yourself. So, hi, Chris. How are you today?
I am doing well. I'm grateful to be here, Tara. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm so happy that you came to join us today. I know you've got lots of inspiration and motivation for our audience. So, if you can tell me a little bit about what led you to become who you are today, let's put it that way.
That is a good question. The origin. Well, I was asked that recently, and I found out that I was conceived at a barbecue. So that was the beginning point, 1979, the summer of. My father shared that with me not too long ago. So, well, that was the start, but maybe perhaps your listeners would be more curious along the way. Probably. Yeah, so weight was always an issue for me. In the 80s, growing up in St. Louis, in middle America, I was one of not many who were overweight. Unfortunately, that's more of a common occurrence in students to adolescents to all ages. Yeah. And at the time, I was the one-off obese child, and I saw there was something wrong with me. I just could not keep weight off. I thought I needed to be skinny to be okay, or just to be enough. And that was the beginning of many trials and tribulations of yo-yo dieting, since I was paying way clubs to fasting diets when I was in 6th grade at the age of 12. Wow. Coincidentally, it was the last time I was under 200 pounds was when I was 12 through age 35, before I was below 200 pounds again. I'm not sure of the conversion of stone for your listeners, but
well, I know it, but I'm not very good at maths. Do it on the spot, I'm afraid.
Yes, so being 229 pounds at the age of 12 was obese for a 12-year-old male child at 5'6", and I went from that is like 23 years into my adult life. I've never seen below 200 pounds or average or a muscular build. So those are many different things that did occur that led me failure in areas of weight loss, or the belief that I just thought I was going to be overweight for life. Yeah. Led me to many different methods, many different plug and plays. I became a professional yo-yo dieter. We're losing over 100 pounds, regaining it several times. That just was my experience up until 2010, where it was like, look, I have a melanoma. I didn't realize it. Somehow the universe chose me. A friend pointed it out, and he meant business. I mean, he saw it on a float trip. I had no idea. Normally it was 430 pounds, so never took my shirt off, Tara.
Yeah.
And somehow he saw it. I must have had my shoulder sleeves pulled up, and he basically said, "Go get that checked out. That mark doesn't look right." The doctor said it's coming off. It was tested to become a melanoma a few weeks later, which is the third most severe form of skin cancer.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
at that point in my life, I was just like numb. I didn't really care that I had been saved. And my non-reaction motivated me enough to look at things, have an epiphany.
Yeah.
And I visualized my own funeral. I didn't mind the funeral. I didn't pass up the opportunity to just be like, well, that makes sense. That's okay. And I'm age 29 at this point.
Mm.
But I did see my parents. I saw their suffering. I felt it. I saw my brother suffering. I saw my friends. And I felt the emotion and the sadness of that event. And that led me to get help, to work with a counselor, to do these things that I'd never done before because I didn't have anything to lose.
Yeah.
And that's really what led me. That was the big flip of the switch 11 years ago at age 29, 30, that led me to become who I am today.
Cool. Yeah, sometimes it's such a wake-up call that you need. Otherwise, you're just going to carry on in the spiral that you're going down, aren't you? I mean, it's amazing how the universe makes you reassess things. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. I was spared. I mean, I would not be here if a friend didn't point it out, and then even further, if a friend didn't introduce that friend. I didn't even know that person 6 months prior.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to actually lose the weight that you got to a point where you felt healthy?
Yeah, so that is a really good question. I don't think I've been asked that before. I'm to think about that. Well, getting to the point where I felt healthy wasn't my initial goal. I just was all about numbers. So I thought, like, well, if I get to 240, I'll be okay. So I actually became a trainer, and I did things that were very unconventional.
Ooh.
Well, sure. And these are the misheld. I would say, for the most part, people believe these myths of there's these misconceptions of weight loss, which are it has to be impossible, it has to suck, you have to suffer to go through it, and you have to starve yourself, or you have to do these radical things going on TV shows, which I didn't do. I mean, my story is living proof. I did not do anything drastic. And in my eyes, it was drastic, but it wasn't surgery. It wasn't 6 hours at the gym. It wasn't starving myself. I actually lost the first 100 of my 240-pound transformation by eating 4,000 calories a day.
I guess you must have been eating a lot more than that before then for it to.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm glad you brought that up, Todd, because I was at 6, 8, 10,000 calorie days.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was just so fixated on this 2,000 calorie diet. Like, oh, I need to just drastically reduce it. And if I'm skipping a meal, I'm doing something good. And I just have to be starving all the time because that's what I see on TV, or that's what I see on culture is like, well, the doctor prescribed 1,500 calories, and it just seems like there's no lasting results when measures like that are taken.
Yeah, it's not feasible, is it? Everybody's different. You know, if everybody cuts straight down from like 8,000 calories to 1,500, they're gonna fail, aren't they? It's impossible not to, and their body's gonna have an absolute fit. It's not going to be happy, is it?
It's going to be right. It's going to be a level of suffering, and to be sustainable, it just why not have something that is very much. I mean, it was in my mind. I was like 4,000 calories. This can't work. But I've been told that many times that eat 10 calories per pound, and by trainers or by professionals. And I was just like, why not try it? And it took me 7 years to actually try that, and it worked.
So what was that again? You used 1,000. Sorry, I didn't. Sorry. Say that.
Sure. So eat 10 calories. It's kind of a broad rule, but eat 10 calories per pound of body weight. That
you want to lose, or you want to be?
To lose weight. So I was at 430 pounds, and I was just roughly going for about 4,000 calories at 10 calories per pound. and I split that up between 6 to 8 meals a day that were all healthy. I think maybe 4 salad meals and 3 or 4 protein shakes.
Mm.
And I worked out 6 days a week, but no more than maybe 3 hours total time of working out between those 6 days. So it wasn't countless hours on end. I wasn't on a treadmill for hours, where I'd done that before, Tara. I'd put in, like, let me go to the gym twice a day. Let me just, if I do everything I have to and then double it, then I'll get more results. And it's not true.
No, it's not. And like I say, it's not sustainable either, is it? I mean, especially
Correct.
the size that, sorry, the size that you must have been. It's quite hard to exercise when you're so overweight. It's a lot of body to move, isn't it? And that's exhausting.
Absolutely exhausting. But to stand up at that weight for longer than 5-10 minutes, it would be painful. I would have stinging sensations up and down my legs, and my legs would actually go numb.
Yeah.
But just to walk, I mean, there was just standing, and it was a lot. So
small amounts of exercise regularly is much more achievable anyway, isn't it?
To exercise regularly?
Yeah.
Yes, and there's a starting point for everyone. That's the main message, if anything, I could offer, is that everyone is completely different, from male to female, age, young, old, middle-aged. They're going to have different levels where they start to, and when to actually get their body or their system to respond.
Yeah.
Is, frankly, I thought breaking a sweat was just part of life. I mean, I carried 2 towels around with me in the summer, and I think it's been better part of 6-7 years since. I mean, I have to work to break a sweat. I have to work like hard. I can't just dog it. I can't go. My beliefs before were that, well, everyone sweats, or that these athletes they just kind of are built like that and they get there, but they have to work even harder to maintain that or to get any kind of gains. It's this upward projection of progress that I didn't believe existed. I mean, I never thought I would take for granted breaking a sweat, and how that was something I wanted to do.
I want to sweat, please.
Right. It was just so given. Like, it's a hard thing to sweat. I mean, it's your whole life. If you have something, if you believe something, it's true as we have to breathe air, and then it's not. It's like, this is really, I mean, the same way as about 5 years ago when I had to, working with a coach, I was like, am I going to lose weight, keep losing weight? And my coach was like, well, what would be a solid month for you that you would consider successful? And I was like, well, if I lose 2 pounds a month, and this is December 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, 2 pounds a month. And I was about 190 at that point. I'm 6'1". And he's like, okay, so you lose 2 pounds a month for the next year. What does that look like? And I was like, whoa. I mean, he put in that perspective of that's another 25 pounds. I would be like in the 160s, and I could already see my bones at this point. I mean, I was just like, okay, it was just this shock of, I'm not going to believe that I have to lose weight to exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this is new, and it was kind of system shocking, pattern shifting, paradigm, if you will. Like, whoa, this is between the eyes. I have to find out a way to exist without believing weight loss is part of my purpose.
When you're doing it for so long, it becomes ingrained, doesn't it? It's automatic. You're constantly on that mindset that you have to do it.
Yes.
It takes quite a shift of that, doesn't it? So you help people now do the journey that you went through, obviously their own journey, but that's your main purpose now, your passion, isn't it? Absolutely.
I mean, to be of impact to, for $1 billion industry, Sarah, you think we'd have more results that are long term. I mean, there's statistics that say anyone that loses weight for short term, if it's 6 months or a year, they eventually, within the next 2 years, will gain back 80-90% of that weight.
Wow.
So not maintaining that for the long term. And I'm living proof that it is possible. It can last. It's worth doing. It doesn't have to suck. You don't have to suffer hours on end in the gym. And also, you don't have to eat 2,000 calories of veggies, or I'm not going to ask you to do that, or eat things that are bland and boring. There are ways to actually approach it that address all of the issues.
That's why it's $1 billion industry, though, isn't it? Because they are not sustainable. They expect you to put it back on and come back again. That's the problem.
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, it's a space that I speak to, and I do see it often where there's accounts or there's people out there that will sell meal plans and recipes based on other people's before and afters. They're just using other people's before and afters, and it's really just a generic account that has 100,000 followers on keto plan, and that's not the end all be all answer when it's just one angle or one leg to a three-legged solution, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So do you work with people, I guess, one-to-one, so that it's tailor-made?
Absolutely tailor-made, one-to-one, and it's phenomenal. We can do something for the long term, and we're breaking the pattern of the generally conceived idea and the belief that it's not going to last, it's short term, or doing these things that really seem radical or unconventional. Like, how could that possibly work? Well, I mean, I'm living proof that those things do work. It doesn't take more than 20 minutes of effective workouts or effective exercise to get a quality exercise session in, or it doesn't take, you don't have to be a master chef to do meal prepping for your whole week.
No, that's true. Just a bit of basic knowledge, isn't it?
Well, yes, and I think it's, for the most part, many people believe that it's just not going to happen for them. They have self-doubt. As my story, I've had self-doubt, and I believe those myths of it's impossible, it's not going to happen for me, it never has, I've lost a little weight, or I do need to be on a TV show as a contestant, I need to be in a controlled environment, or I actually have to starve myself and do something just over the top. It's few and far between, but it's not for me. And when I believe those, I never get motivated, I never get started. So I help people overcome that side of self-doubt. I become a guide where there is a plan that is tailor-made, as you said, to their life, and there is a solution that they can follow. And in 9 months, it can be possible what I did in 10 years.
That's really cool. That's really impressive. I mean, mindset is one of the key elements. When I work with clients, they haven't succeeded in the past, like you're saying, the same. So they automatically think, well, it's not going to work this time. And it's getting past that, because, your past does not equal your reality. You don't have to keep living the same thing. And that's really important to get ingrained in yourself before you even start anything, isn't it, really? Because otherwise you're going to set yourself up for failure, because you think, oh, well, I'm going to do this, whatever it is. And I know that, well, I know it's not really going to work anyway. So you don't actually put as much effort in as you could. If you knew that you were going to succeed, you have a completely different mindset and a different energy about yourself. You go into it a completely different person if you know that you can't fail. It's crazy.
100%. 100%. I mean, there's no fatigue about that. When you're believing it, you can see it. It's uncharted territory. It can be scary, but also it can be very exciting.
Yeah.
I recall being interviewed as a personal trainer back in 2011. I was 340 pounds, and I mean, there were things I had to suspend, like my mind of like, okay, I don't look like the ideal trainer here. And it didn't matter, because I was exuding this energy, this spirit, this just shining, if you will. And the interviewers knew that. The manager, the director, I mean, they were asking me the goofy questions that were just saying like, oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I would just laugh at them, because it was like an enjoyable interview. I saw appealing to the masses in 5 years, or I saw myself as this symbol that could actually guide other people, because I don't want to be the rarity. I know of maybe 2 other people in the States that have this long-term result, and it should be more common. It should be more like the 1 in 1,000 versus 1 in 1,000,000.
Yeah.
And I humbly say that, like, I don't want to be the rarity. Like, it can be more common, and by all means, that's my dream. That's my passion, to make it more common.
Perfect. Transformational coach. That's what you are. So you're going to make transformations, aren't you?
Well, I'm going to help all. They're going to do everything. They're going to see it.
Yeah, they're going to do all the work. That's the beauty of it, isn't it? That you don't have to do the work yourself. I mean, but they do
Absolutely.
work in the corner. And I think everybody needs some kind of coach in their corner, because they can achieve like so much more, no matter what it is. It could be health, it could be business, it could be relationship, anything. If you've got somebody that's showing you what they've done and what's possible, you just push yourself so much more, and it does make a huge difference in your life. So
I couldn't agree more. It does take that initial like trust to go and get a coach. The first time I did 10 years ago, it's like you just need help, but it saves so much time. And the irony is that it saves suffering. It saves energy, and it actually amplifies your life when you do request help. Someone that's been there, you don't have to go through the amount of time it took them to get there, even with a coach, with that person's coach. I mean, I left the gym after opening my own business to be more of the approach of not only fitness, but nutrition, and also the mindset, as you said, and the whole package from within.
Yeah.
And got a coach. And I mean, she basically summed up a problem that a business of 300 trainers and 15 locations was facing, of getting clients to come in. Like, you don't get paid when they don't come in, or they cancel sessions. I became an in-home trainer that did all of it, as far as teaching them how to cook, how to shop. That was at that time. But as far as a package, and I never had anyone cancel. It was totally different from the hourly transaction to the, even much so on the coach level that we are now involved in. It's like, it's the life change overall. It's not the hourly deal. It's the weekly, monthly, and the result-oriented approach.
Yeah. Yeah. Working on the hourly outcome is not an overall transformation, is it? You can't achieve something that's life-changing in an hour. It's a culmination of everything together that brings out the transformation. Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. So I know you've done quite a lot of work over the past summer during our unusual period that we've had. And I know you've been doing a lot of advice for how to not overeat and things like that when people work from home. So what advice can you give people? Because it is very easy when you're sat there and the kitchen's there and you have cookies and you have ice cream and everything else, and you're like, I can't go out, I need food. So how can you stop that demon from taking over?
Well, that's a great question. And as far as being, if you're single, if you're living with family and you have kids, you have to have those goods in the house, that's okay. But a purpose around that, or a plan around that, it doesn't have to be, well, I'm really motivated now and I'm just going to take care of it when those troublesome areas come up. The wing it, if you will. When we wing it, we end up just being between us and the cookies that are right there on our mind. When we have a plan, maybe it is one cookie a day, or maybe it is, I'm going to call a friend, or I'm going to Zoom a friend, or FaceTime a friend. Or maybe I'm actually going to have a treat in another way. If I'm bored, when am I most inclined to go into the kitchen and eat off a plan? I mean, first, do I have a plan?
Yeah.
Is it pinpointing those areas? So if it's like for me, it would be watching TV during the day. It would just lead right to, well, I'm going to go eat. Or it would be, well, I'm hours on end at home and I'm just find myself in front of the refrigerator, just like, how did I just time travel when I'm in front of an open fridge? So there could be many different areas. If it's do you have other friends that you can reach out to that are dealing with the same issue? Building a tribe could be one method to get around that. Phone a friend, connect, and say, I'm having trouble with eating. Do you want to just get on the phone? I'm just wanting to hear about your day.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, there's so many other areas to take. Are you exercising? If you're not, could you replace that time that you are bored, or that time that you want to go overeat, with a 10-minute walk, a 20-minute walk? Is there something productive that you could do? Something that you actually just makes you feel good overall, that's not eating. Is it something that just lights you up? Like for me, it's improv comedy, or thinking about creating comedy or creative energy, picking up a guitar and just making something up on the spot. Whatever lights you up, makes your heart sing. Define that. Find out what that is and put energy into that while you're at home, or while you're susceptible to those cravings or those times where you're like, man, I'm overeating at 3 o'clock every day. Maybe you need a 3 o'clock healthy snack or an alternative.
Yeah.
So there's several different ways to look at it.
I mean, if you're working from home, you're not commuting. So you've got that time that you would normally be on the way to the office, which is a perfect time to fit in a small workout you can do at home. Because a lot of the workouts you can find like 10-minute workouts, things like that. And once you've done that, doing that first thing in the morning, for example, is a great booster for your ego and your energy. And it tends to help with not overeating as well. Once you've exercised, it's like, well, my body feels good now. I don't want to put extra in it that I don't need. I don't need that anymore because I've got this feeling of energy everywhere, if that makes sense. Certainly.
I mean, especially in the day, it's going to create more energy throughout your day by getting a workout in first thing, or by having a productive alternative like exercise. I couldn't agree more.
So you exercise every morning, do you, Chris, as well?
I do. It's I can get complacent as well, where if I miss it, I'll feel off for that day. Or like last month I had surgery, so it's really a challenge when I don't. But it's funny where we do something so often, becomes a habit or becomes part of our lifestyle, where when we don't do it, we feel off.
Yeah.
And that's a cool thing to have it if you build up to anything, where it's just eating every morning at 9 a.m. If that's when you eat, your body expects it. Your whole nervous system, everything expects you to be fueled at that point. So having exercise, if you're more a night owl and want to work out at night, that's okay too. But building up anything for a while will actually be a benefit, because you're growing, you're progressing, you're living, you're changing, and you're putting yourself in a position to be in an uncomfortable area, which quality change, in my experience, is always uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is, most certainly, yeah. So how can my listeners find out more about you, and how can they help you, or how can you help them, should I say, Chris?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. So my handle is Success by Action on Instagram. That's SUCCESSBYACTION. All my links are there. I like to connect if you'd like to schedule a quick call or apply with me. The links are there on Instagram. Again, that is Success by Action.
Success by Action. Okay, that's great. So that would automatically get them through to schedule a call with you. And I presume that you work globally. It's not just local, is it, that you do?
Absolutely. We can schedule around time zones. I am working on learning other languages. Right now it is English primarily. We are working on it. I've been involved with meetings where it's bilingual, but yes, I'm definitely in awe and inspired by anyone that can speak more than one language.
Good. So preferably English, but you can get through anything that you want to, can't you? Language is not a barrier, really. If you've got the passion and the motivation, then you can do it. You can communicate. Absolutely.
Just like an unknown life, you're absolutely over the top transformation that you haven't experienced yet. It can happen. It is possible.
2021. Perfect. So you might be a bit busy in January, I suppose, because everyone starts in January like, oh my God, no, now I have to lose weight. I have to exercise. That's the peak, isn't it? But it's just a matter of, January's great, but just keep it going the rest of the year.
Why wait for January?
Yes. You can start now. Christmas is going to come around every year anyway, so you might as well just be straight in with the right mindset that you can tackle every Christmas. Otherwise, every Christmas you're going to fail, aren't you?
That's right. And having a tangible plan. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up. Is having a Christmas plan could be key. Thanksgiving plan. I mean, there's these things that come up every year. We know our birthday is going to happen, what day is going to be, where we're going to be tripped up or where we're going to have the most challenges. Why not have an actual plan we can write down or discuss with someone else and go to that plan? Scary or not, we can try it.
Certainly can. Perfect. All right, Chris, thank you so much for being my guest today. I've really enjoyed it. And I hope my audience has learned lots and lots about mindset, motivation, and healthy eating and exercise. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you, Tara. Be well.
Thank you for listening to the Happy, Inspired, Motivated podcast. I'll be back next week bringing more meditation, mindset, and motivation for your happy and successful life. To find out more about our community, go to tarachatzakis.com/happy, inspired, motivated.